Welcome back, Michael Lafido. You're in the right spot. If you're an agent, team leader, broker owner, and you're looking to work smarter, not harder, welcome back to another episode of Luxury Specialist. Special guest today, we're going to talk about how to 10x your listing appointments over the next 12 months. But before I bring our guest on, just a reminder, if you have any questions whatsoever, shoot me an email, or if you're watching this live, you can type them in your comment sections. Again, shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup. Best way for us to get you a response. And if you want more information on our designation, you can always go to luxurylistingspecialist.com, luxurylistingspecialist.com. Speaking of which, we are going to be in Cabo. We're going to be in Cabo teaching our class, second time in the last 6.5 months, called 7 months. Second time we're going to be teaching our class. We're excited about it. We will be going to Cabo. Take a look at that. We have how many days left? 13 days left until our next designation training in Cabo. Again, for more information on that, go to luxurydesignation.com, luxurydesignation.com. Our book is about to launch, Secrets of Top Luxury Agents. We're excited. We're probably going to launch it in January because our publisher says we'll get a lot more traction with the January book launch versus December, just because of all the holidays and everything else going on. So we are really excited about our book launch. And don't forget, you can go to our podcast, luxurylistingpodcast.com. Leave us a like, leave us a review if you are getting value. Which brings us to our next guest. We're excited. I've said a lot of times during our trainings, right? List to live. A sign in the yard is better than a sign in the car, right? So again, what can you do to get more listings? And so today's guest, we're going to talk about how to get more appointments. Many times you're not getting enough appointments. Your conversion's great, but you're not getting enough appointments. So today we're going to talk about, and I'm wearing my special 10X shirt. I got Elena Cardone is going to be in my next book. And I taught Elena our Lux designation along with a lot of her agents on her team. And so we're going to talk about how to 10X your actual listing appointments that you go on over the next 12 months. And with me is my special guest all the way from the West Coast. Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Michael. Happy to be here. Looking forward to this.
Thank you for being here. If you want the volume, just talk a little bit louder. I want to make sure our guests can hear you. That'd be awesome. And so, Kevin, tell everybody a little bit about you and give a backdrop of who you are. And you got a great company right now that does some lead gen and prospecting as well for agents going on listing appointments. So tell everybody, give me a 30-second bio on who you are, and then we'll get right into today's topic, talking about how we can increase our listing appointments.
Yes, absolutely. So can you hear me a little better now?
A little better.
Okay. So my name is Kevin Markarian. I've been in the industry since 2002. I started really young, always been involved with the lead generation. I have a few brokerages. Our business model has always been supplying our agents with leads. We have a few hundred agents across California, and recently started a company where we're supplying agents with appointments across the country. So we kind of like changed, basically continue doing the same thing, but change the model a little to now be able to provide those opportunities to agents across the country. And I'll tell you, Mike, in the last 12 months, we've booked 5,195 listing appointments for agents.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's pretty much a little bit of a nutshell what we've been working on.
Wow. 5,195 listing appointments. That's pretty impressive. So much so we already got it on the big screen there. Look at that. Right. So that's great, Kevin. So we're talking about today, our topic is going to be about 10xing your listing appointments over the next 12 months. That's what we want to focus on. So talk to me about your philosophy on listings, right? I gave a little bit of mine, list to live. Studies show agents that, focus on listings, particularly, do a little bit better financially than those that work with buyers. Who knows with the lawsuit as well? That's why listings are going to be important. So talk to me a little bit about your philosophy.
Well, my philosophy is just creating as many opportunities to get in front of people as possible, so that I can give myself the best possible outcome. Because if I'm talking to the more listing appointments I can create for myself, the more people, more sellers I can sit in front of, the more listings I'm going to be able to generate. Just bottom line numbers, right? It's a numbers game. So with that in mind, how my thought process is, how am I going to get to be able to meet and sit in front of as many sellers as possible? And for me, the way to do that is through data. Okay, so it's all about data. It's all about reaching out to as many people as possible. So starting off data, what I'm talking about is, first and foremost, is a lot of times it's right underneath our nose, right? It's like the contacts that we have in our database. We talk about all the time, our sphere of influence, past clients, people that we know, like, and trust. That's like low hanging fruit, the lowest hanging fruit opportunity, right? These are people that we know and that know us, and a lot of times they're familiar with us and want us to be successful. So there's an app that I use. So a lot of times people are like, okay, well, I have all my contacts, they're in my phone, right? All of our contacts really are in our phone. That's our sphere of influence, if you really think about it. And so I always talk about that, and people say, well, how am I going to get my contacts out of my phone into a database? Because I think we have to treat our sphere of influence, I think you would agree with me, like we would treat any lead source. We have to treat it like strategically, right? We have to be in front of those folks. We have to be nurturing long term, so on and so forth. So then it's like a matter of, how am I going to get organized with that, and taking those contacts out of my phone and putting them in some kind of a organized format. And so we have this app that we use, and I talk about it all the time. Been talking about it for years. It's like a $5 app in the App Store. It's called MC Backup. MC Backup allows you to extract all your contacts out of your phone within like literally 15 seconds and plug them into a CSV file. And now you can start communicating with those folks strategically, put them in a CRM, and start, having conversations. That's one really
What
easy.
does MC stand for?
I don't know. It's a good
Okay.
question. MC
MC
Backup.
backup.
Yeah, multiple contact backup or something,
Okay,
maybe.
MC backup.
I
Yeah, that's
could
probably
be
what
wrong.
it is.
Yeah.
Either that or you pulled it out of what, and you did a good job of that. All right, so MC backup. So that's one of your big nuggets, is you got many agents don't have a database that they're touching regularly. And so most of their contacts are in their phone, right? That's why, one of my worst days ever is I thought I lost my phone in Mexico a couple of years back, and all the pictures of the kids and the family, as well as all the text thread history. You bring up a good point. I just got a new phone in June, and they transferred all the text threads over, everything. Well, guess what? Most of them didn't. I went back again. So I ended up not even turning in my phone, eating $450, because that text thread and the contact is gold. So MC backup. So that's your big first nugget. Thank you for that. What's next?
Okay, next is, so I was a very heavy spender on the portals. I was buying leads from the portals. I was literally, one time, I mean, it hurts me to even say. I mean, I was spending like crazy amount of money on the portals. So I've gotten to a point where I don't want to have to spend another dollar on lead generation. I want to create an opportunity, a situation where I have as many opportunities coming pretty much in my sleep. So a couple of things that I want to focus on, like really, really easy. Let me see. So let me talk about the data first, then we talk about the nurturing, where we never have to worry about leads coming in ever again. So
Yeah.
basic, easy stuff. Actually, I'll get to the cool stuff first. What we want to do is work with data providers. Okay. So connect with big data providers, like companies like LendingTree, companies like Rocket Mortgage, companies like lowermybills.com. These types of companies that are traditionally, you think of them as buyer heavy. Okay. So this is a listing, how to 10x my listings. So you must maybe think of, why are we talking about LendingTree? Okay. The reason I'm talking about LendingTree is because people go on those types of websites and they apply for cash out refis. They might own a home in Chicago, beautiful home. They have equity. They apply for a cash out refi. They get denied because of their credit rating or because their debt to income is too high. Now, especially in this environment today, somebody applying for a cash out refi with 77.5%, 8% interest rates, and that person gets declined, that person is probably in need of, obviously in some situation where they need finances to be fixed, right? So that's a really good candidate for a potential listing. So we really focus on those types of data sources where we're, focusing on people that are more so through their actions and activities indicating that they could be a potential seller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
those are folks that we start reaching out to. There's another company that we work with. It's called Altair. And what they do is they look for folks that are engaging and taking action online. For example, they might go on a site like Redfin and type in "What's my home worth?" They type in a certain number of time "What's my home worth?" That's another potential candidate for a listing, right? So I'm talking about folks that are taking steps.
So is that a subscription? Like, what is the name of that company?
It's called Altair. You can just go. Anyone can go on there. Anyone can go and they can purchase. In your area, see what's available, and then and these are like really really low cost lead sources.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's these are just easy low. I mean, it's like the cost per lead on those are like incredibly low. Other things that we focus on is like for rent by owner. So you can pick it like just through Redex. You can get for rent by owner listings through Redex in addition to expireds and FSBOs, like basic low hanging fruit opportunity, right? But you can go through for example, for rent by owner, somebody owns a really nice, beautiful, big home in Chicago. They want to rent it for $20K a month. They can't. It's not renting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we reach out to folks like that and just simply ask a question for the right. If you see your home is for rent, for the right price, would you be willing to sell? And that's a really really good source for us, and we get lots of opportunity through for rent by owners as well. And then of course like real just basic stuff like low hanging fruit, death, divorce, distressed property situation. These are all things that everybody kind of already knows, but we're kind of taking a lot of that data, those contacts, and really nurturing them and staying in front of them over a long period of time. And then we use our dialers, our team, to pick up the phone and make those appointments. And that's
Good.
how we're able to do like 15 listing appointments a day.
Okay. So for our listeners that maybe don't have a big team, they don't have the financial resources to have a ISA or call, they're not dialing for dollars. Are there any, what would you say for maybe the individual agents or the one-off agents, some basic, I call it blocking and tackling, some basic fundamental stuff. Um, and you probably started out with it with the MC backup, right? It's probably your database and your contacts, just nurturing and loving on them.
Everything at scale, so I mean it's like if it can be done with 1,000 people, it can be brought back down to one person. So it's the same thing. It's just like you said, the fundamentals. um I'm really big on, I really think that nurturing is important. So we just take, like, for example, we can take these contacts, the expireds, the all these folks that we're talking about, and like we plug them into our CRM, and then we use Real Scout. So with Real Scout, we're sending out constant information, like listing information. Also, like companies like HomeBot, same thing. We're just staying in front of people, nurturing them over a
Mm-hmm.
long period of time, and based upon their activity. So if I have somebody that I know went on to Redfin, said, "What's my home worth?" They're interested. They applied for a cash out refi. They didn't get a client. They didn't get approved for that. We put them into our CRM and use Real Scout to start dripping on them with information, and they're clicking on that. Like, these are, like you said, basic fundamentals. As an individual agent, we're picking up the phone and we're calling, we're sending
Mm-hmm.
out, letters, we're doing door knocking. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just face to face interpersonal connection that we're talking about here. These
Mm-hmm.
are just tools. These what we're talking about is like a bridge to get to the relationship. At
Right.
the end of the day, we have to make that engagement. So, but what we're talking about here is how we can create a bridge to that and also do it at a large scale. Whether it's one person and I want to farm my neighborhood and just go deep with my neighborhood, I can use these tools. Or if it's like 100 people on your team and you're working a massive call center,
Yeah.
and like what we're doing, and we're booking appointments, thousands of appointments. So
Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, that's what I would say
Oh,
to
that's
the
great.
individual.
That's great. And of course, once you get that listing opportunity, that creates so many more opportunities, right? So that seller becomes a buyer, or that seller knows other people thinking about selling, or you host open houses at those listings. And for those disappointed buyers that didn't like the home, you reach back out to other neighbors in the area and say, hey, have you ever thought about selling? I'm selling the home up the street, and we had 13 people come through. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, nobody's written an offer, but those 13 buyers, if they are pre-qualified or you've worked with them, they're looking in this school district or they love this area. And so again, it's just the snowball effect. And so more opportunities, you use the word opportunities, which is the term I always use. That's what real estate's always, it's about opportunities and conversations, getting to know people, growing your brand, growing your business, having discussions with people.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about exposure, right? So we're being exposed to the neighborhood, to the community. There's so much that can be leveraged from one listing, regardless of whether it sells or not, quite frankly. Some other things that we look at for generating the opportunities, like sales score. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Sure.
It basically shows somebody's likelihood to sell. And a lot of that information is available through the MLS, through the public tax record. So if you have access to relist through your tax record, like on
Yeah.
MLS, that information is available for free. So you can
Mm-hmm.
pull up and see, like, okay, this person's likelihood to sell is 900 out of 1,000 versus somebody who's 100 out of 1,000. So I'm going to obviously focus on those folks that are 900 out of it. So my thing here is really just, how can I create a shortcut? Like, how can I create a shortcut to talk to the most engaged people that are going to get me closer to the finish line? And that's kind of really what I like to focus on. But yeah, of course, I mean, once we sit in front of those folks, then that's where the magic happens. Now we're talking about, serious commission dollars and booking listings and getting creating opportunities through listings. So, but my thing is, let me get as many of those potential opportunities as possible by utilizing these really great resources.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's really what we're talking about today is, how in a slower market, when sellers are on the fence, and I'm a big believer in staying positive. I'm a big believer in life is what drives real estate. But here's the facts. The facts are, interest rates 8% first time in 23 years, mortgage applications, the slowest and the lowest number of mortgage applications in 28 years. So there's definitely there's not a tailwind, right? There's not momentum. There's a headwind that we're going into, but life is what drives real estate. So listings are still a big part of the game. And, there are these companies out there. I swear twice a day, 3 times a day, I get a health insurance text from NAR because they sold my data, or hey, are you taking on listings because we'll set appointments for you. And so that's where I'm going with this part of it. You have a company that's done a great job. You guys have set 5,195 listing appointments. Buyer beware. What should they be aware of and be skeptical of if they get a call or a text from one of these? Hey, we'll get you a listing appointment companies.
okay. Yeah. That's a really good question. I think what you want to look for first, I mean, who are you doing business with? Look and see. I mean, it's just like anything, right? I want to see what other people are saying. I mean, I think it's important to look at, what they're showing you on the demo, as far as what they can do, looking at the lead sources, where they're generating their leads from, and how they're managing those those clients when they're sending them over. So like with what we do, every single person that we connect with, when we send that over, we guarantee that person is going to be ready to transact within 90 days or less. So that's important, right? I don't want someone that's going to be wanting to sell their home 2 years from now, right? What's that?
No, that's good. You're saying you're looking for short term and long term.
No, I'm saying looking for short term. Personally, like if I'm going to buy off of one of the companies, like you said, what to look out for. So if I'm going to buy leads from a company that's going to be booking appointments for me, I don't want long term. I want short term because I'm paying for that. So with what we do, like I said, we make sure everybody is ready to transact within 90 days or less. All of our calls, these are actual appointments, by the way. So every single person that would be, what you want to look for is every person is motivated. They understand the property, the condition of the property. You understand their like the type of ownership. Is it like a trust? Is it a probate? What's the story? What's going on? What's the motivation? And then
So it's not a Zillow for sale by owner that is misled to think that you have a buyer, and then you go on the appointment thinking they're interviewing you, and they said, "Oh, wait, where's your buyer? We thought you had a buyer."
No. This is like very thorough with regards to the quality. I mean, I know what it's like to go on those types of appointments, and some can be really embarrassing. But like you want to look for a company that's gonna, like with us, we record the calls. We have a quality control team that listens to each and every call before we submit the appointment over. Like we'll do like a group text. We make sure that we make the connection. We tell the client, hey, we're gonna set you up with a local expert. They're gonna come meet with you, either in person or on the phone. It just depends, but they're gonna come. Let's say it's in person. They're gonna come meet with you. They're gonna talk with you about selling your home and getting you the most money for your home. And then we're gonna set up a group text between you, the agent, and then the person that booked the appointment. And the other thing is you want to make sure the company is going to stay around like after the appointment is booked, because that's important. We want to be out. You want like that back end support. I think that's
So
important.
yeah, so support. Talk to me about support. Is it email? Is it chat? Is it a phone? How does support work with your company?
So with what we do is like we have an actual account rep. So it's an actual person that you would have communication with. So after the appointment's set, we reach out to we tell the client actually before the appointment set, hey, we're going to check back with you. We're going to make sure that everything's good. Like, it's kind of like a concierge thing. And so once that appointment's booked, let's say the next day, we'll follow up with the client and say, hey, how was it with Michael? Did you have any other questions on the listing? Is there any other things that we can do to help, whatever? And so the point there is we want to maintain the third party kind of warm and fuzzy connection with them, so that if there is a problem or anything, they're going to tell us and we're going to communicate that back over to you. And likewise, we have the relationship with the agent where like same thing, feedback, like how did it go? How did the appointment compare with what you had in mind? Was everything, did everything go well? And so on and so forth. So, and then, that helps push things along to help get the listing and then ultimately get it sold and then get referrals and so on. So, that's I think those are really important factors.
Yeah, that's good. And the reason I wanted to bring that up, Kevin, and by the way, you didn't know I was asking you this, but the reason I want to bring that up is, in the past I've tried those companies, various companies, and they all most of them all overpromise and underdelivered. I got one company now that they're doing nothing. I got another company. If any of you have a connection at Regentology, let me know, because it's like they picked up and closed shop in the middle of the night or something, because we can't get a hold of anybody.
Mm.
And so there's these companies out there. Be skeptical by nature. Ask for testimonials and names. If they say, "Oh, we can't give you their name because of confidentiality," call BS on that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
uh, right? Is that fair
Oh
to
yeah,
say?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's I want, if I'm working with people and I'm selling a product, I want them to be loving that product. Like I want them to love the product, I want them to love me, and I want it to be like a great, just overall positive relationship. And so if somebody's not satisfied, we're gonna deal with it. Like nothing's perfect, right? We're gonna deal with that
Sure.
situation. We actually bring people on, all of our people. We bring them on and we do like basically all the customers. Like we bring everybody on. We actually have meetings together and we talk about best practices. We talk about what the challenges are, and sometimes those can be somewhat uncomfortable.
Right.
Like someone's like, "Hey, this one didn't show up" or whatever. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does, and we deal with it. But there's
Yeah.
lots of success stories too. We booked 5 appointments for a lady. I think she was in Colorado. She got 5 listings out of 5 listing appointments. She ended up getting 5 listings. So, it just kind of depends. And I
Yeah.
don't want this to be like a sales thing right now, Michael,
No,
but
no, 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 no. That's fine. But I know my audience is getting bombarded with NAR health stuff and probably these appointments like I do. So I just wanted to talk about that. So thank you for that. So kind of coming back to the original topic, 10x your listing appointments. Kevin referenced a bunch of different resources. Think about life-changing events. He talked about growing families, death, relocation. All the major life-changing events. and your sphere of influence. And he talked about importing your phone contacts, people that you've met at open houses. You know, if you're on, if you coach your kid's ball game and they know you're in real estate, those are people that you should be touching. You just don't know. Offer up free second opinions. You know, people want to know what their home is worth today. So as you're listening to this or watching this, they want to know what it's worth today. That appraisal from 9 months ago doesn't mean anything. So what's it worth today? That's always a good hook. Find out what your home is worth today. Text your address to this number. They want to know about off-market properties. Nobody wants to pick through all the stale listings that every other agent that they're on that search for, you know, is sending them. They want unique. So think about these things and go find those opportunities for people in your market, and that's how you'll get more listing appointments. That's how you'll 10x your buyer appointments, your listing appointments. And so, Kevin, what's the best place where someone can find out more about you, find out more about your services, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, you can look me up on Facebook. The company that I'm referring to is called Rupler. That's the
Is there a
company that,
website?
yeah, Rupler.com.
RUP?
ROOPLER.com. Um, and we are, one thing I wanted to say real quick before, if it's okay, Michael.
No,
I want to
please.
say in real estate, really, it's not about who you know in real estate. It's about who you know that knows what you do. Right. So the more we're out there having those conversations, the more chance we're going to be successful. And then you wrestled, you coach your kids wrestling team, and I
Yeah, yeah.
wrestled.
I coached wrestling for 3 years.
And I wrestled as a kid. And I remember my coach once, I was in a match and I was doing some fancy work. I was doing some fancy moves and everything. And then I remember he came back and I was losing the match. He came back and he's after the round. And he said, "Hey, when in doubt, go back to basics. You know, go back to basics." And I did, and I ended up winning that match. But it's the same thing with what we're dealing with now in real estate, right? It's like you said, all these crazy statistics, 28%, you know, higher or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's madness. So, but when in doubt, go back to basics. Basics is pick up the phone, call, build relationships, have events, do open houses, do listing presentations, like do what it takes, the fundamentals, block, what'd you say?
Yeah, the blocking and tackling, the X's
Blocking and
and the
tackling.
O's. Yep.
It's not the fancy stuff right now. Right now, it's
No.
like let's get back to basics. Let's you know, let's grind it out. And there's another phrase like you make a lot of money in good markets, you earn your money in tough markets. So we have to go earn that money. But
Hmm.
yeah, anybody who's interested, I'd be happy to connect. Happy to
Right? Is that
share.
right? What's on the screen, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rupler.com.
rootblur.com. I love this quote, by the way. I'm stealing it. Not just who you know, it's who you know that knows what you do, right? So I tell agents all the time, shy real estate agents have skinny kids, Kevin. I mean, you got to let people know what you do for a living, right? And
Yeah,
so, you know, my Vinny, he likes when we take him out, he likes a nice steak, and I'll never forget, you know, going out once as a kid, I ordered a steak, and my stepdad said, "No, you get a hamburger." And I thought, man, I want to be in a position where if my kid wants a steak, he gets a steak, right?
that's
So
it.
don't be shy. Let people know what you do for a living. And if somebody lists with somebody else and they didn't know you were still in real estate, that's on you. That's not on them.
Exactly. And that's what that quote is so powerful because they have to know what you do. And then if they do, and then they still list with somebody else, then maybe there was, you know, maybe you need to improve your listing presentation skills
Yeah.
or whatever. So anyway,
Or they're lost, right? Or they're
they're
lost.
lost. Yeah. People make
Yeah.
bad decisions all the time. Right. So
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Well, hey, listen, it was great info, Kevin. I appreciate you. Again, putting his name back up there. You guys connect with him on social media. Kevin's a great guy. I've known him for years. Ran into him at the Follow Boss conference most recently in September. So it was great seeing you there. And keep raising the bar for the industry. And you got a big Facebook group as well. You got 60,000 people in. What's that group called?
it's called Real Closers. Real Closers Facebook group. Yeah, pop in there. You know, we're doing some webinars. We're gonna do one with you, Michael,
Yeah.
next month, I think. And yeah, we always want to share and learn and collaborate with great people. It's all about just building relationships and you know, keeping things positive. So yeah, Real Closers Facebook group. Check that out.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. We'll check that out. And Kevin, always a pleasure. I appreciate you, buddy. And we'll jump on that live stream here in a minute. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks. Kevin, great content, 10x, giving you a lot of tips and strategies, thinking outside the box. Also, what to look for when you get solicited by one of these just listed, hey, we want to send you listings. That's important, guys, because you can throw good money after bad many times with those companies. If you don't do your due diligence, you don't know what to ask. So until next time, folks, my name is Michael Afito. If you're getting value from these trainings, please leave me a like, leave us a review. We're doing this. Kevin's donating his time. I'm donating my time. We're doing it to raise the bar in the industry. You can always shoot me an email, michael@marketingluxurygroup.com, michael@marketingluxurygroup. Take a listen to old podcasts. I just had a random person reach out to me. They listen to my Jack Cotton podcast. You can go to luxurylistingpodcast.com. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes. And again, that's a great way to listen to some of the other podcast episodes that we've had. And again, my name is Michael Afito. We appreciate everybody. Until next time, you can check out our book on Amazon. And if you're getting value, leave us a review. But check out our designation. You can go to luxurylistingspecialist.com for more information there. And you can check out my events. Click on the events tab to see where we're speaking next. Until next time, I'm your host, Michael Afito. Keep raising the bar in the industry and prove others wrong. Take care, everybody.